Hello, everyone, and welcome back. If my voice sounds a bit rough, I just got done filming episode 11, and now I'm just jumping into episode 12 because why not? I have it in front of me. I actually have another episode that's pre-filmed and ready to go, and it's going to be the astrology part 1, but that is going to be such a long episode. I just can't bring myself to film it tonight, so I'm going to stop here after this one. But if you can't tell by the lovely title, we're going to be deep diving into Yule. So, I hope you just sit back and enjoy. Is this your favorite time of year? I know a lot of people love this time of year. It's always this time or Samhain that people just love. My personal favorite is Samhain, and this is a close second. So just let me know your thoughts down below. But also in the description box is going to be I just had like a brain fart, is going to be links to all the research that I used today, as well as a link to my social media. By the time you're seeing this, my Etsy shop is already up. I don't know if there's going to be anything left because I had a ton of people say that they were going to be buying from me, so I don't know. But just in case, go check out my Etsy shop. When I'm filming this, my shop has not yet opened. Like, it's set up, it's just not like open. There's no listings on it yet because I am currently working on a project, but the launch date is December 1st. So when you're seeing this, it should be up. Well, it will be up. So I don't have the link yet because I don't want to link anything until I have listings. But I will leave my shop name down below, so that you can go shop if you're interested. It's a witchy little Etsy shop. I've got pendants, bath salts, I have smudges, not sage. I would not use sage. And for right now, I think that's all I have. I've been contemplating adding more stuff to this launch, but I guess we'll just see when it does in fact launch. So just go check that out. But let's go and get into our episode for the day. So firstly, I'm just going to talk about what the Sabbats are in general, just in case you're kind of confused, and then we'll get to Yule, which is kind of like what we do with Samhain. So the Sabbats are comprised of four solar holidays, the 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes that mark the Earth's annual journey around the sun, and 4 Earth festivals, which occur in February, May, August, and October. This latter set of Sabbats mark the cross-quarter days between the solar points. For example, Beltane, which is usually Beltane, usually celebrated on May 1st, which is my husband's birthday, by the way, falls roughly between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. Each of the cross-quarter Wiccan holidays, Imbolc, Beltane, Lammas, and Samhain, is inspired by older traditional folk festivals which were celebrated in Western Europe before the rise of Christianity. And I want to quickly say that the Sabbats are basically looked at as Wiccan holidays. I mean, they are Wiccan holidays. I am not Wiccan. I do practice witchcraft, but I am not Wiccan. But I do take some aspects from Wicca. So you don't have to be Wiccan to celebrate these. Please don't let anybody tell you that you have to be something to do that. That's my personal issue with some Wiccans, not calling them all out, because I know some Wiccans and I love them. It's just that some of them can be very territorial and it's kind of annoying. So just putting that out there. Please don't let someone bog you down or tell you that you're wrong. Like I've said in a lot of my episodes, that your craft, your practice is completely personal to you. So I just wanted to put that out there. But anyways, continuing. Depending on the form of Wicca being practiced, some of these festivals go by other names. Lammas, for example, is also known as Lunasa by those who work in Celtic traditions. I honestly go between the both of them. It's just whatever comes out of my mouth first. For the longest time, I was not able to say Lunasa, so I said Lammas. But many Wiccans refer to the cross-quarter days as the greater Sabbats, and the solar days as the lesser Sabbats, as the Earth festival days are seen to be times of greater energy. The terminology is more about making a distinction between the two types, however, and doesn't mean that the solar days, also known as sun Sabbats, are any less important. They are all great. They're all amazing. They're all wonderful. I know that some people will go all out for one of these holidays and they won't really celebrate another. Some people have said that they weren't really into Mabon, for example, but they go all out for Samhain. It's just like your own personal preference, but they're not like any less important than the other. It's just like what you personally celebrate. If you get what I'm trying to say. I don't know if I'm explaining that correctly. But it should be noted that these 8 holidays do not belong to Wicca alone. Like I said, many contemporary pagan traditions also observe some or all of the Sabbats. However, the metaphorical mythology surrounding the god and the goddess and each Sabbath's portion of the overall story is what makes the Wiccan version unique. The divine pair is responsible for all creation and nature, and each has crucial roles to play in the cycles of plant and animal life during the course of the year. As the god represents the sun and the goddess the earth, their relationship is seen in 2 ways, as mother and child and as procreating lovers. In this way, both the presence and the absence of warmth and sunlight over the course of the seasons is explained. The god is born, grows up, and reaches the height of his power, and then ages and dies to be reborn again as the growth cycle is renewed. The goddess, who is the earth, is both mother and co-creative partner to the god, remaining steadfast and present throughout the year, even in the absence of warmth and light. She is the constant, which may be why her Sabbats, the earth festivals, are considered to have greater power. But the overall vision of the endless birth, death, rebirth cycle is one of balance between the female and male universal energies, and each Sabbat can be seen as representing a particular stage of the cycle. I hope that made sense to you, because I know a lot of it came out at one time. And I know that saying god and goddess might seem a bit weird, but I want to be known that this is just like the mythology of it, and a lot of people don't necessarily look at the god and goddess as like human doesn't sound like the right word. Like, they don't think of them as human beings, if that makes sense. Like, because as a being, but not like you get what I'm trying to say? Like, they don't necessarily like believe like there's a god and a goddess that is each of these things. It's just kind of like the representation. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I don't know if it does. I'm terrible at explaining this. But anyways, so what happens at a Sabbath celebration? Well, the details can vary widely, but generally speaking, there will be a ritual focusing on some element of the god and goddess relationship and or the time of the year. For example, spring and summer Sabbats take themes of fertility and abundance, while autumnal Sabbats are related to harvesting. The formal ritual is usually followed by a feast of some kind. These proceedings may be simple or elaborate and may involve just a solitary practitioner, a coven, or an informal Wiccan circle. Some covens and circles, as well as other pagan groups, even hold their Sabbath rituals in public so that interested members of the community might come and observe and learn. Others maintain a tradition of strict secrecy and celebrate in private. So the details of the ritual, as well as the decorations and food, will likely depend on the particular Sabbath. Witches may devote their rituals to different aspects of the god and goddess at different points along the wheel of the year, leave offerings appropriate to each season, and decorate the altar with the seasonal themes. I will say that decorating the altar is one of my favorite things. Like for my Samhain altar, I got a divination altar cloth, my pendulum. I have red, orange, yellow candles, white and black candles. I have all my pretty little herbs. I have my books that I go to for basic information, as well as books pertaining to Halloween and Samhain. I have my crystals for that particular time of year, my cauldron, and it's just really cute. I wish I could actually just show you, but I can't. I'm not describing it good at all. And adding like little like black and orange decorations to it just to make it pop a little bit more. It's just one of my favorite things. I love decorating it. But anyways, moving on to Yule. So when is Yule? It's December 20th to the 23rd. It is spelled Y-U-L-E, and it is pronounced Yule. I know that I have like a weird accent, but it's Yule. So the themes are rebirth, quiet introspection, New Year, hope, setting intentions, celebration of light. It's also known as winter solstice, midwinter, Alban, Arthwin, Saturnalia, and Yuletide. So in most traditions, Yule is the Sabbath that begins the Wiccan year. This is the winter solstice, the shortest day and longest night we will experience in the northern hemisphere. Though it's typically celebrated on December 21st, the exact moment of the solstice varies from year to year due to a slight misalignment between the Gregorian calendar and the actual rate of the Earth's rotation around the Sun. It also occurs at differing local times, so that depending on where you live, it may fall the day before or the day after the date listed on any given calendar. For this reason, a date range of December 20th to 23rd is often cited in sources on the wheel of the year. And you'll notice that with some other of the Sabbats, it kind of gives you a few different days because you can't just be specific all the time. But anyways, Yule, a fire festival, is a time of celebrating the return of the light. From this point forward, the days will gradually grow longer again until we reach the height of the sun's power at the summer solstice. Although we will see comparatively little of the sun's light for several more weeks, the Sabbath reminds us to have patience. The waning half of the year is over, and warmth, growth, and light will reign again. The significance of the winter solstice has been recognized for thousands of years, ever since human beings first observed the ever-changing patterns of sunrise and sunset over the course of the seasons. The ancient Romans, Greeks, and Persians all held festivals at this time, many of which celebrated the birth of one or more gods. Of course, the leaders of the early Christian church decided that this was a good time to celebrate the birth of Jesus as well, since one of their strategies for winning converts was to align their holidays with already existing pagan festivals. The name Yule actually comes from the pre-Christian festivities of Germanic tribes and is believed to have been handed down to us from the ancient Norse in particular. So when I started actually researching all of this, I learned so much. A lot of this I did not know, and I just found it so interesting. So I hope you guys find this backstory and bit of history to it interesting as well. Like, I didn't know that so many different cultures and beliefs kind of had like their own version of Yule, which I know sounds stupid, but I didn't think it, at least for not as long as they have, if you get what I'm saying. But anyways, moving on. So in the Wiccan belief system, I'm sorry, my voice is starting to get even more tired. But in the Wiccan belief system, the god is reborn at Yule, having died at the previous Sabbath, which was Samhain, at the end of October. The weak quality of sunlight during these still short days is symbolized by the god in his infancy, just born and needing sustenance before he can come back to his full power. The goddess, who has been in her crone aspect these past few months, is now once again in her mother aspect, having just given birth to the god. She represents the earth, remaining still and silent for a while, yet as she rests from her labor. This is a celebration of the renewal of life, but compared to other Sabbats, it is relatively quiet indoor holiday as people gather within the warm shelters of their homes to be merry and give thanks. As a Yule ritual, many Wiccans decorate their altars with evergreen branches such as cedar, pine, hemlock, and spruce, as well as bright sprigs of holly, pine cones, and other festive winter flora. Candles are paramount to the Sabbath, of course, with Yule traditions emphasizing the colors red, green, white, and gold. Images of the sun are also appropriate. Those lucky enough to have a fireplace can burn a sacred Yule log, but you don't need an actual hearth to brighten up your home with candles galore. Interestingly, many traditions which are generally thought of as belonging to Christmas, including the Yule log, a decorated tree, wreaths, and even caroling, are actually rooted in pre-Christian pagan traditions, so it's quite likely that you've already been celebrating Yule for years with or without your knowledge. And that right there is crazy, because I grew up in a very Christian household, and my dad called Yule like this evil thing, and he just didn't understand it, obviously, like he doesn't understand a lot of things. But I just remember him having an issue with the name Yule, and looking back on it now, it's like, dude, we've been celebrating this. So I found that very interesting. But we're actually going to get into what's the difference between Yule and Christmas. So Yule comes from a name for a 12-day festival celebrated by Germanic peoples around the winter solstice in December and January. By the 900s, yes, it was that long ago, Yule's already mapped on the Christian celebration of Christmas and its surrounding festivities. The word Yule develops from the, I can't pronounce it, Gol? I'm sorry, that sounded so hick. And I know I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. With cousin forms in such other Germanic languages as Old Norse and Gothic. English speakers are most familiar with Yule through associations dating to its original use. For example, the Yule log, as in the lyric "See the blazing Yule before us," was originally a real tree limb or a trunk burnt on the hearth, but now makes an appearance at Christmas time as a cake shaped like a log. Yule also carries associations with a farm animal. The Yule goat carried Father Christmas on his back, and a symbol of Christmas throughout Scandinavian countries. The Yule goat may have associations tracing back to Norse mythology. The now famous comic book god Thor rode in a chariot pulled by 2 goats that could also be eaten and magically regenerated into living creatures again. So, that was Yule. Now we're going to get into Christmas. And that can refer to December 25th itself, but it can also refer to the whole Christmas season. Other terms for the Christmas seasons are Christmas time and Christmastide, where tide refers to an old term meaning a season or a period in the course of a year, day, etc. In the Christian Church, tide historically has a stricter sense of a period of time that concludes and follows an anniversary festival, stuff like that. And growing up in my strict Christian household, that is what I celebrated and still do. I celebrate both Yule and Christmas now, and I love them both equally. But that is all I have for you guys. I know it might seem like, oh, that's it. That was a deep dive into Yule. That is Yule. I don't know what it was, but I could not find, like when I did for my Samhain video, I could not find the correspondences like I did. And that made me really sad. But the links that I use will be linked down below like always. I'm sorry, my voice is just like, I can hear it straining, and I know it's probably annoying some of you guys. But that is our little deep dive into Yule, in case you didn't really know what it was, or you've heard it before but you didn't know much about it. I hope this kind of helped you out a little bit. Of course, go and do your own research, and maybe you can find some traditions that you want to do, or something that interests you, or how you want to celebrate. And if you already celebrate it, let me know what you do. I'd be really interested in knowing, and maybe I can adapt some of the things you do into my own practice. But that is going to be all for me today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and I will see you guys next week. We'll be talking about astrology. It's probably going to be like a 3 or 4-parter. So next week is going to be our part 1. There is so much. I knew there was a lot about astrology, but I didn't realize just how much. So there's going to be a lot to it. It's going to be a long episode, so get ready for that. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.